How are we? How are we? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Deadline stream. It is game week 35. We have 4 weeks left of the season. It is an early kickoff for Burnley versus Leeds, and we'll be talking all about that. We'll be talking about my team. We're doing a really fast intro. It's nice to see so many of you in. Thank you all very much for joining, and happy Friday to you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Sorry, that was probably quite loud. Sorry, I started it and then there was a 5 minutes delay. I have had a headache for about 2 days since Tuesday, actually. So that's almost 3 days on and off. So I am drinking so much water, which is I've got here, but it also means I need the loo the whole time. So I will be back. I will be going, I'm sure, during the stream. And this is making me look really red as well. But anyway, that is enough about me. Before we get into talking about it, about BIJOL or whatever it is, we're going to say hello to some of you in the chat. Thank you all very much for joining in nice and early. And it is also a new month, so I can give away some more gifted memberships, which we will do right at the beginning of this stream once we have said hello to you all. But let's crack on, shall we? Hello to Ian. Hello to Shane. We've got Adrian. We've got Fiona. We've got RYK. We've got Callum. We have got the Pixel Pirate. We've got Chelsea. Hello to all the members and moderators in. Thank you especially for your support. We've also got Yeah, No in the chat. We've got Andreas. We've got FC Sampa. And to everyone else, hello and happy Friday to you all. We've got Joshua. We've got Sham. We've got Antonio. We've got Tita. We've got Flynn. We've got Andy, John, the Gamer. I Am Dude. We've got Zed Tom. We've got Joshua. We've got Mohammed, Daniel, User, Ganti, AJ. We've got Aaron. We've got Kabiti. We've got FPL Goose, Gerard, Ivy, XC Bag, Ruben, FPL Forest Phil, Bevan. We've got Lord Meta. We've got Benjamin, Tino, Luke, Marwin, Steve, Josiah, FPL Fella, hello, Yusuf, Ngolo, Wendell, and Harry Carter. What a name. Hello, everyone. Let me give away those 5 memberships, base tier memberships, to 5 of you in the chat. And, yeah, let's see who wins them. I am still in last fan standing. We will do that after the deadline. We will, of course, do all the usual bits. We've got last fan standing. We've got FPL challenge. We've got my club team, which I actually need to check ahead of the weekend. I lost my club match this week. Ooh, a player to open. Let's see who I'm going to get. Manchester United defender, Diego Dallo. Nah. So congratulations to Peep, PM Gaming, Zed, Tom, Aaron, and Mesh for your base tier memberships. That is quite all right. I hope you're all doing well. So let's start off by talking about my team. Then we're going to discuss a few things in particular around players and availability and stuff like that. Someone asking in the chat how many people are ahead of me in my mini league. So you will see up in the top left hand corner, I have a league code. If you are not in the league code with 4 weeks to go till the end of the season, please make sure you join it before the deadline. There is a link in the description which will automatically get you joined to the league. If you want to join it, the league code is up above. It is for charity. Basically, every single person who finishes inside the top 25k, I donate money to charity. So if you have a good season, you will be contributing. At the moment, we're donating somewhere between £200 and £250 to charity at the end of the season. Again, I will be taking thoughts and recommendations of how we run our charity league for next year. I don't give away prizes in my league. I don't give big rewards for the people who come top. I like it to be a league that is available to lots of different people to contribute and to raise money for charity. So the more people in my league that do well in FPL that year is how we run it. People saying, idea for next year, donate to You've Just Won a membership. That is, you are already getting free donations. Don't you worry. So if you're not in the league code already, please make sure you go and join it if you are not already. So let's talk about my team. So I've got 5 free transfers available. So I have to use at least one this week, right? That is very likely to be Senesi to Gabriel. I have no real reason to not make that transfer. So the reason for it is I like Arsenal. I like the last 4 fixtures. I'm going to want Gabriel. The longer I leave it, the more I'm going to start to get priced out, and I'm just going to get behind the curve on buying back Gabriel. Now, do I think that Gabriel is definitely better than Senesi and definitely better than other players that I could just play this week specifically? Not massively, which is where the second transfer potentially comes in, which is Semenyo potentially going in place of Cherki coming in. And we're going to talk about the whole Semenyo situation that I've been tweeting about this afternoon in a lot of detail in just a moment. So there is a world where I decide not to buy Gabriel. I am about 90% sure that I will buy Gabriel. The reason that it's likely to be Senesi for me is it's the value aspect of it, right? Next week, when I look at the transfers that I might want to make, the chances are that Hill and Jakob BIJOL will likely leave my team next week for double Palace defense anyway. But there is a chance that doesn't happen. And as a result, it makes most sense to sell Senesi just because he's the most expensive. It puts the most amount of money in the bank for me in case I do something else with my transfers and with my team next week. Because if I didn't sell Senesi this week, he would almost certainly go in game week 36 for a Palace defender because he's the most expensive out of O'Reilly and then Gabriel, who I want to buy. So out of the 4 other defenders that I've got, because you can include Van Heck has other good fixtures between now and the end of the season and has good motivation. BIJOL is just really cheap, and we'll talk about him in a moment. Senesi and Hill are very similar, and there's just no reason for me to keep Senesi over Hill between now and the end of the season. There's lots of questions already in the chat about why I'm not starting Brighton players. So as much as I think Brighton are probably favourites in that game, and I would back Brighton to win if I had to pick in that match, I don't think it's quite as straightforward. Like, Newcastle have not been good recently, but they are still Newcastle. They are still playing at home where they are definitely much better. And trying to predict a Brighton clean sheet away at Newcastle feels more difficult. Van Heck's DEFCON is also more difficult to predict than some of the Bournemouth defenders as well. So there's just lots of different contributing factors that it just makes sense for it to be set up like it is. Now, let's discuss a couple of things first and foremost. Owen, thank you very much for the super chat. Do I think Ryan starts? Probably. If I'm honest, I haven't massively tracked his minutes over the past couple of games. He didn't start the second one in the double, did he? But apart from that, yeah, I would expect he starts, but it's because it was a midweek game. Bournemouth do tend to rotate a little bit. So I would expect Ryan does start this weekend if you're looking to play him. Yes. So let's head over to Twitter for a moment. So there are a few things that have been going off that we're going to talk about. First and foremost, let's talk, where should we start? Let's start with Leeds, right? Let's start up at the top here. So the 2 big questions are around OKAFOR and they are around Jakob BIJOL. FPL Fella, thank you very much for gifting a membership. Mahmood, congratulations on winning that membership. Please say thank you to FPL Fella in the chat, and thank you very much, Fella, for gifting one. So the 2 players at Leeds that we're looking at are OKAFOR and Jakob BIJOL. They are 2 players who often post Instagram stories when they are going to be in the squad. Emphasis there, in the squad. It does not mean that they start, right? In the squad versus starting is different. It is also not categorical, right? These players might not be in the squad at all. That is, of course, a possibility. But it does tend to lead that they will be in the squad. So both OKAFOR, later on in the day, But earlier on in the day, Jakob BIJOL posted himself. There was also then a Leeds training video where I cannot see OKAFOR in it. I haven't looked that much as I was mainly focusing on trying to find Jakob BIJOL, who is in the training video. So I would be pretty confident that BIJOL will be in the squad. It does not mean that he's going to start, but it is positive about him being in the squad. OKAFOR feels more difficult to predict, but the fact that he has posted is quite positive. I would say it's more positive than if he didn't post, for example. Now, it's not categorical. As they say, maybe they're trying to hide OKAFOR in the training video. These are all things that are possible, right? So if you've got Jakob BIJOL and OKAFOR, the way that I would go with it, unless anything changes between now and the deadline, is if you're on wildcard, I wouldn't own either of them. I don't think it's worth the risk unless anything changes. If you own OKAFOR or you own Jakob BIJOL, if you have a good first sub, and that includes a Bournemouth defender at home to Crystal Palace, I probably would play them over these guys just because there is a risk. The issue I have with BIJOL is the amount of times he has not played 90 in a match. There have been several occasions over the past few weeks, including the FA Cup semi-final, that BIJOL did not play enough minutes. So in game week 33, second part of the double against Bournemouth, he played 63 minutes, right? That is fine, but it is just the right side of enough minutes. Then in game weeks 28 and 29, he was a used substitute. In the FA Cup semi-final, they changed from a back five to a back four at half-time, which meant that BIJOL got subbed out. There is just so many contributing factors that mean there is risk about BIJOL. I expect he starts, and I expect he probably plays enough minutes, but yeah, he is sacrificed when you go to a back four. So, for example, if he starts and at half-time it's 0-0, is there any reason for us to think that we might get to half-time and they change system and go to BIJOL and he comes out of the team? Like, that is possible, right? I wouldn't worry too much. I think he probably does start. The chances are he probably will make 60. But it is just a contributing factor that if you have him compared to another player, that's where we're at with it. That's why he's benched for me at the moment. So the next thing is just around Semenyo, and this is not really anything. However, against Burnley, he got taken off after 65 minutes. He was then not in the squad against Southampton in the FA Cup semi-final. And then the training photos this week, there have been 2 sets of training photos, and he is not in either of them. The last time that we have actually seen Semenyo, we have seen him turning up to the training ground, but we saw Cunha turning up to the training ground before the Brentford game where he then didn't feature. He was in training between Burnley and Southampton, right? So there are training photos from last Thursday or last Friday after the Burnley game before the FA Cup that he was in them. But he hasn't been seen since. There's no understanding of why he missed out on the FA Cup, why he was taken off early. It's just something that's playing on my mind a little bit when I am already considering going Semenyo to Turkey. Someone saying liking your own tweets, right? So the reason I like the own tweets is so that I can go to liked tweets on the stream and I can bring up the ones that I think are most relevant. And if I want to show you a tweet, rather than flicking through a Twitter timeline to try and find it, I can just go and like tweets and it will show up for you. So that is where we're at in terms of news at the moment. That is why Jakob BIJOL is sat first on my bench. I also have Darlow. So do I need to double up on Leeds? I mean, I do think Leeds probably keep a clean sheet. They've been very good at home. Burnley have not been great. So yes. Oh, I could bookmark them. Yeah, that's true. But I just always... Hey, I want to like my own tweets. So that's where I'm at. A few other questions. Sorry, the vice captain should be on Bruno. First one is around Palmer. I don't think Palmer's particularly worth the money. I don't think he's a great pick. I wouldn't have him on wildcard. But I don't think I'll play him again after this week. There's a small chance he stays for Spurs at home in 37. But yeah, I don't like the Palmer pick. But I don't think the replacements are any better than him this week. Do I think Rodgers is better than Palmer? Maybe, but in 2 weeks' time, I'll have to sell Rodgers anyway. So that is 2 transfers. It's an extra transfer. Then the other one is Saka. I'm not certain enough on the minute, so there's just lots of doubt in my mind about these things. Saka probably will start, but I'm not sure I'm confident enough on it to sell Palmer to Saka, basically. And I was at the Fulham Villa game, and they were playing basically a back 5 with Harry Wilson at right wing back, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do a similar thing to that against Arsenal. So yeah, and I don't think Saka's been particularly great anyway. Like, I don't see loads of goals in that game. So unless, like, Eze, again, probably will start. Minutes slightly unreliable. So there's just lots. Like, Eze looks great. I actually think if minutes were, if I could trust the minutes for both, I'd buy Eze before I bought Saka. I just don't like. I know I'm a Chelsea fan, so I have a more negative opinion of Madueke than maybe other people. But I mean, also if Odegaard is injured, then it's good for Eze, right? He has to play the minutes. But I just like Saka versus Madueke is just such an upgrade in my eyes. I would not captain Ollie Watkins. He has also come out of my top 5 forwards to buy. Just he played 90 last night. Probably enough to put me off, particularly the captaincy. So questions. You already saw from Vaidat. You've already have Gabriel in your team and 1.7 million in the bank. You went from Chaël to Saliba this week. Now you're thinking, should have gone from Kelleher to Raya. Listen, there's almost nothing to pick between the Raya and Saliba pick, so I wouldn't worry yourself about it. I think when it comes to it, I probably will end up on Saliba, but I'm not guaranteeing it. I don't think there's much between them, and there are lots of good defenders, whereas Saliba doesn't offer much over Raya, so I think you might have actually ended up making the better decision. It depends a little bit on what other defenders you've got. You still got your free hit and triple captain left, so I mean, to be honest, I'd triple captain 36 and free hit 38. Fella, I'm planning on doing Senesi to Gabriel. I'm not completely crazy. Yeah, the plan is Senesi to Gabriel. I am talking myself into Semenyo to Turkey. I'm going to be very clear about that. I've spent the morning or the afternoon probably talking myself into doing Semenyo for Turkey. And there are other reasons for it. And let me show you why. Let me get up. So, right. Let's say I do Senesi to Gabriel, right? And I'm playing Bruno over Jakob BIJOL, right? So going into 36, the plan at the moment is BIJOL to Munoz and Hill out. Now, I could just go Canvo, but I wonder about Lacroix and going Munoz Lacroix and just going with 2 Spurs. But what you'll notice is I am short of that. And if I also wanted to use another transfer to do like someone to Henderson, I'm also short of that. Now, where do you get the money for that? Where would you get the money from that for my team? Now, the obvious place to get money is by selling Palmer, right? Bin Palmer. I could do that, right? Palmer to Saka, I could do, right? But if I wanted to go, again, it leaves me slightly short if I wanted to go and buy Henderson. If I wanted to buy triple up on Palace defence, like I am slightly short of that. The other route, and again, the issue with that is I'm not certain I want to commit my Arsenal attacker until we get to 37. Although I might do it next week. Is Rodon starting? Yes. I would be very surprised if Rodon does not start because he fits in both systems. So yes. Those people looking for a wildcard draft, please go and check out the complete guide video for this morning. That wildcard, and I talk about different chips if you've got left to play. Yeah, I've seen the stats from Tom Hadley about right wingers against Everton. I have seen that. But the other way to get money is Semenyo to Cherki, which puts quite a lot in the bank. So, yeah, that's the added benefit, that it makes my life with buying Palace players next week easier. Why not buy Gabriel, Saliba and Cherki this week with 5 free transfers? I mean, if I was to buy Saliba and Gabriel, I would be benching Hill and Senesi. I'd be selling Hill. I'd be selling Senesi, BIJOL and benching Hill. And I would then only have space for one Palace, which is not the end of the world, right? It's no issue with only having one Palace. I probably would do Hill to Munoz next week. But that's just a lot of money. I would suddenly have a defense which has got Gabriel, Saliba, O'Reilly, Munoz in it, which is just a lot. Like, do I think that Saliba is definitely better than a Bournemouth centre-back this week? No, because Bournemouth centre-backs like Hill, with the Palace long throws, Hill very likely to get DEFCON, right? I mean, I know he loves to score an own goal, but he is very good at getting DEFCON again, like recently been fantastic. Both of them are very likely to get it at home to Palace, I would say. Play Gordon or Tav? I probably would play Tav over Gordon. Probably wouldn't take the risk on Gordon if you don't have to. Is basically where I'm at with it. Why wouldn't I recommend people to do double Brighton defence instead of Palace in 36? So the wildcard draft that I built, there is less Brighton in it. Now, Wolves at home is good in game week 36, right? So if you don't want Palace, then they're a great substitute for it. But I still think you'd want a couple of Palace if you're wildcarding this week. One of the benefits to wildcarding this week is you have the flexibility to have more players for the double in game week 36 that other people won't be able to buy into. Yeah, I did discuss the wildcard team with Bench Boost Game Week 36 in mind. Yes. Basically, the wildcard draft that you build is almost the same no matter what chips you've got left. You might just want an extra Brighton player if you're bench boosting next week versus you might go for someone else like a Bowen if you're not, for example. But it's pretty much the same. I wouldn't be buying Thiago now. I'm quite comfortable with going against Thiago for the end of the season. This week in particular, no. 37 in particular, no. But for the final 4, that includes City away, Liverpool away, like West Ham have been defending quite well, and you've got Palace at home. Like, of all the players, he's a player that I'm just going to go against. I'm not going to own Thiago between now and the end of the season. If I wanted to buy a forward next week, like I'm not selling Calvert-Lewin or João Pedro this week. Like that's not happening. Next week, if I want to buy a forward, it will be Welbeck. And then in 37, if I want to buy a forward, it will probably be Bowen. Because if you want a forward for 37, 38, you're probably buying Bowen, right? You're probably doing that over buying Thiago. So I doubt I own Thiago. I'd be very, very surprised if I own Thiago again this season. And then it'll be a lot more expensive next year. So who knows? Might never own Thiago again. That's probably unlikely, but it's not impossible. Because he'll be what? Like, he started very cheap this year. He'll be 8 million next year. And if they price Thiago at 8 million, chances are I'm not going to own him in game week 1. Like, I'll probably think that's too much. Yeah, basically. That's where we're at. Anyway, we are What time is it? We've been live for almost half an hour. I feel like I've just been rambling and rambling for all of that time. Welcome, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. 3,000 of you in. If we could just drop an early like on the stream, that'd be great. If you are also new to the channel and have been enjoying the content recently, or maybe this is your first stream, welcome on board. If you could drop a subscription as well, that'd be great. But yeah, if you want to support, a like goes a long way. Where to put Krupi and Porro on the benching ranking? Pretty low down. Yeah, like I wouldn't particularly want either. Krupi's fine, but they're definitely side 2. Porro would be below BIJOL, and Krupi would probably be there as well. I don't love either of them this week. No team news as of yet. No, I will be keeping an eye out. Like I'll be checking on Twitter or anything like that. I don't think we've had much leads before, but we've had the occasional thing. So, yeah, like I'll be keeping my eye out as much as we can for anything between now and the deadline, particularly around Jakob BIJOL and OKAFOR. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've got 5 transfers, so the plan is to use at least one of them. I feel like I've convinced myself that Semenya to Turkey is a good idea. But yeah, I'll be buying Gabriel in place of Senesi, I think. I mean, Senesi versus Hill is pretty even. Like, if I'm convinced that I'm going to buy a Palace defender anyway next week, then maybe I should just keep Senesi. But like Senesi versus Hill is so minute a difference that if there's a world where there is a very small chance that I don't sell Hill next week, in which case it's better to keep the cheaper one. I probably will end up selling both though. So maybe I should consider selling Senesi more. But Hill's like quite useful. So the thing is, there's no chance that I keep Senesi to the end of the season, right? He's too expensive. He will be sold. But there is a chance I keep Hill. Because if next Thursday, Forest beat Aston Villa, and so have a European final in the few days before the final game. So let's say we get to game week 38 and Bournemouth are going away to Forest, who have just won a European or been in a European final. They're safe from relegation, and Bournemouth are chasing Europe. Like there is a world where he becomes useful for me, right? Whereas there's no world where Senesi is. So just to keep my options open. And again, like there's so little to pick between them. I would say Senesi's assist potential is better. But again, like look at this DEFCON. DEFCON difference is huge. So, yeah, I mean, James Hill, 3 assists? And I feel like they were pretty lucky. Senesi just has more attacking threat. So 5 assists. I mean, if I could free hit and have one of them, I'd always go Senesi because he feels like he's got that bigger upside. But basically, I just don't see a world where I keep Senesi past this week, and I might keep Hill. Yes. So, am I getting Gabriel? Yes. Yeah, so the plan is to do Senesi to Gabriel. As I say quite often in my streams, there are only specific hours of the day that I make transfers, and it's a really silly thing, but effectively, I only make transfers when I have the most information on that day, right? So, and I am very much aware that not everyone has the luxury of doing this. Not everyone has their world and their life revolving around the FPL deadlines like I do. But for me, there's no benefit to making a transfer before 10:30 at night, because that's when price changes are going to be most accurate and you've got the most information from the day about press conferences. Embargoed quotes for press conferences come out at 10:30 at night. And B, on a deadline, in the final 30 minutes before the deadline, there is literally no benefit to me buying Gabriel at 10 a.m. this morning compared to 10 minutes before the deadline, right? There's no benefit to me doing it earlier because there is a 1% chance that we would get news that that player I'm selling or player I'm buying is injured or not injured, in which case you may as well just wait, because you're not losing anything in waiting it for it. Now, if there was a price change last night, like if Gabriel was going to rise last night, I would have just done the transfer, right? But anything. Yes, Gabriel went up in price much earlier on in the week, though. It was... it was much earlier on in the week. I think he went up on Monday or something. So I was never going to go that early because it was before Arsenal played in the Champions League. So it wasn't worth the risk for me. He went up on Sunday. So I was not going on the transfer that early, right? I wasn't doing it because we also didn't have the double announced then either. And that was the reason I didn't do it early, because there was a chance that Bournemouth doubled. So I didn't know which defender I'd want to sell for him, basically. Sorry, some super chats, of course. Iron, thoughts on differential captain Calvert-Lewin? I wouldn't do it. They're just not convincing enough going forward. You're chasing the mini league leader by 70 points. I would rather captain someone else than Calvert-Lewin. I know the fixture's there, but he's not the one I'd punt on. Tavernier to Rodgers with 1 free transfer or roll. Mike, definitely roll. That's not a transfer that's got nearly enough upside this week. Why not buy Gabriel Saliba this week? We did. Gross or Tav, which to play? I would play Tav. Now, I know that Palace look big favourites to go through, right? But I still think that is a fixture that they won't care about particularly. Dylan, would I do Dewsbury Hall, Hinchwood and Thiago Calvert-Lewin good for a wildcard team? They're fine. I personally would go against Thiago on wildcard. The issue with Dewsbury Hall and Hinchelwood is Hinchelwood's away at Newcastle and Dewsbury Hall has City. If you're happy to play one of them, all of those are fine. I'm not certain I'd go Thiago. Surely I'm doing Semenyo to Elliot Anderson. I mean, what a hero. Now, that is a player I'm not sure I might not ever own again. And that makes me quite sad to know that I might never own Elliot Anderson again, because he's going to go to City, at which point his minutes will be less reliable. He'll get less DEFCON because people in the City side get less DEFCON. I mean, he might not go to City, right? He's still linked to other clubs, but he's going to go massively up in price next year. So am I ever going to own Elliot Anderson? It's just dawned on me that I might never own him again. What a sad day. Bench Saliba or Tavernier? I probably would bench Tavernier and play Saliba. Still got free hit. We did. Wildcard bench boost 36. Gross or Wilson? I prefer Gross. I didn't like what I saw from Wilson at the weekend. Saturday. If you have Senesi and Gabriel, should I bench João Pedro? I'd rather bench Palmer than Pedro, if I'm honest. I'd bench Tavernier if I had another defender. You have the same team as my 13 out of 15. You have Gabriel and Scott instead of Senesi and Hinchelwood. Forgot to bench boost 33. Is it just best? You've got Gabriel and Scott instead of Senesi and Hinchelwood. Yeah, either this week or next week. Whichever looks best for your team. Not much in it. And would I bench Tavernier for BIJOL or Strauch? I wouldn't do it for BIJOL because I'm not certain enough on his minutes. If I had Strauch, I would be benching Tavernier, yes. Bench Welbeck or Tavernier for Palmer. I probably would bench Welbeck out of those lot, to be honest. Like Welbeck, Tav, Palmer, probably is Welbeck. So Wilson was really, really wide and really deep. He was playing almost right wing back. Now, part of that is because it was Castagna playing, and Castagna is less good defensively than Kenny Tete, who is now back available and will probably go back into the team, which means Wilson might not have to do as much defensive covering, but he was so deep against Villa. Like, he was playing right wing back on the touchline. He was a dreadful pick on free hit. Listen, if you're bench boosting this week and you've got Brighton players, there's absolutely no issue with it. I don't expect a clean sheet for them. I do expect Newcastle to score at home. But if you've got a Hinchelwood, a Gross, and let's say you've got a Verbruggen, it's absolutely fine, right? Yes, BIJOL did post on Instagram. So a few people asking again about the posts that we've seen. So first thing is, OKAFOR and BIJOL have both posted on Instagram. It does not mean that they start. It doesn't mean they're even in the squad. It normally indicates that they will be in the squad, though. It doesn't mean they start. Like, BIJOL has posted several times when he's back in the when he's in the squad, but he's not starting. So it doesn't mean that he starts. And it's same for OKAFOR. But it does lead us to think they're probably in the squad. I'm not sure I'd chance it if you don't have to, though. And then the other one is Semenyo. I've had questions in the chat about Semenyo. I do not want this to become more than it needs to be. He just hasn't been in the training photos this week. It wasn't mentioned at all in the press conference, and he didn't play against Southampton in the Cup. That is literally all it is. We have no reason to think he's not available. We've not heard anything. There's no news reports or anything that Semenyo is injured. It's just that he's not been pictured in the training photos this week, and he didn't play against Southampton in the FA Cup. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's where we're at. Will I review your teams with an hour left? No. So if you want to throw some questions in the chat, I'll do my best to answer them, but I don't have time to go through specific teams between now and the deadline. That is, I very, very rarely plug my membership, but a perk of mid-tier membership, which is $5.99 a month, is you get access to the whole WhatsApp community with all the other 100 or so members in to talk about FPL all throughout the day, transfer news, chips, everything, all throughout the week as much as you possibly can. And then there's a really good match day chat over the weekend where people talk during the matches about what's going on, which is really good. But as Duncan says in the chat, join us. But one other thing you get is every single week, or it's probably 35 weeks out of 38. Occasionally I miss it. You get a members WhatsApp, a members only stream where you send in your team, your screenshot and any questions. And I go through every single mid-tier member stream and I answer the question about your team as best I can. So if you want that every week, that is a mid-tier membership perk. Amongst other things. There should be a link in the description if you want to find out as well, which will tell you all about the other perks that you get. It's an update on OKAFOR. You posted on Instagram. We expect him to be in the squad, but that's about it. Hill or Tav? I think I'd play Hill over Tav. If BIJOL was available, I think I'd bench Tav and play a back four. I think BIJOL will be okay, but I'm just not sure it's worth the risk. Heading to the US for the World Cup. All will be revealed in due course. I'm hoping to. Palmer dual haul. I mean, I feel like he's been dual haul for a long time now. I don't hold out much hope, but this will probably be the last week. If he doesn't do anything this week, it will be the last week in my team. If he does score, then there's a chance I keep him for Spurs at home. But even then, I think that's unlikely. I think this will probably be the last week I start Palmer. I might just bench him next week. Is it worth risk starting OKAFOR when you've got Gross first sub? Personally, I'd just play Gross, but if you want to start OKAFOR, you can. But the risk is he doesn't start and he comes off the bench, so you've got to weigh up that risk as well. Who to sell for Gabriel? Senesi, Chaël, or Van Heck? If you've got another Bournemouth defender, then Senesi. If you don't, then Chaël. Yeah, there's a picture from the City account of Semenyo turning up to training, but like that is normally a positive. Like when O'Reilly was a doubt, and I'm not saying Semenyo's doubt, but when O'Reilly was a doubt a couple of weeks ago, they did post that. However, Manchester United posted a picture of Matheus Cunha turning up to training before the Brentford game, and then he didn't feature. So, I mean, it might be a City thing, and maybe he'll be fine. And I would say 90% chance Semenyo's absolutely fine. Probably more, 95% that Semenyo's absolutely fine. So, yeah. But I do think that Cherki is maybe a better pick than Semenyo regardless. It is a transfer I mentioned earlier on in the week, a bit more fleeting than I'm considering now, I grant you. But Semenyo has been wider past couple of games. He got hooked against Burnley. Like, just, I mean, he did have some chances against Chelsea, but again, early sub against West Ham and an early sub against Burnley. I mean, Cherki's not like nailed for minutes, right? But one of the reasons for Semenyo was he was better for minutes. But I just can't shake that Cherki is the player that that Cherki is just that player at the moment. I mean, his minutes are not reliable either, but I can't help but think that he's just that guy at the moment. I can't shake that. If City are going to win the league, Cherki's going to have a huge role to play in it. I can't shake that feeling based off what I've seen over the past couple of weeks. Yeah. So that's part of it. And I'm like, yeah, I can just wait and do it next week. But if we get to Monday night, I mean, of course, if we get to Monday night and Semenyo scores and Cherki doesn't, then I'm going to want Semenyo. But if we get to Monday and Cherki does well again and Semenyo doesn't, it's going to suddenly look really obvious. And I do wonder with 5 transfers about trying to get ahead of it. No, I would not drop O'Reilly for both of them. O'Reilly is the best City pick, probably in the game. I think he might even be better than Haaland. Yeah. Yeah. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. Anything? How long have we got? We've got ages. Cool. Right. So you still got your free hit and triple captain. Yeah, so I would triple captain 36 and then free hit 37 or 38. Free hit on the last day is always a fun thing to do. Palmer to Rodgers or Semenyo to Cherki and Palmer to Saka. To be honest, I probably would roll. I wouldn't do Palmer to Rodgers. Like, I don't think Palmer to Saka is worth it this week either. So either you do Semenyo to Cherki and then consider Palmer to Saka next week. But I don't think I'd do Palmer to Rodgers. Palmer's not massively worth keeping. Those asking in the chat, I don't think he's been particularly great. But I'm going to keep him this week because I just don't think the replacements feel great. Right. One player, you have my word that I will not own. Okay, you don't have 100% my word. I reserve the right to change my mind. Is Declan Rice. I just would not be using an Arsenal spot on Declan Rice now. I have no idea what he adds on top of the others. He's not as good a pick as Saliba. He's not as good as a triple Arsenal defence. His DEFCON has massively dried up. His attacking returns have massively dropped. He's not been the same FPL pick the second half of the season as he was first half of the season. Once you get to Burnley at home in game week 37, if your only Arsenal attacker is Declan Rice, you're going to think, well, I don't have the defence, but I don't have the attacker. He's just sort of this weird middle ground. And I wouldn't be surprised in that game if they play Rice as a lone 6. And they play Rice, Eze, Odegaard, which is also not what you want in a game at home to Burnley. You might get DEFCON in that game, but that's fine. I'm not going to own Rice. I'm almost certain of it. I'll either go triple Arsenal defence or I'll take a partner on Eze, Saka or Gyökeres. Now, the other thing is, let's say there's an injury, right? Like, let's say Saka gets injured again. Yeah, I know. Every time I've slated a player over the past couple of weeks, they've done really well. It was Vifa, then it was Casemiro, and now it's Rice. So congratulations, Rice owners. Every week on a stream at the moment, I slate someone as being a bad pick. Normally, and they all fit the same role, right? They're DEFCON first players. Yeah. And this will probably be it. It'll probably do well again this week, but it is what it is. SZHUG, I did answer it. I wouldn't do Palmer to Rodgers. I'm not sure I'd do Palmer to Saka this week, though, so I probably would leave that one for next week. Currently buying Rice because I said it. Absolutely, and I hope it goes well for you. Congratulations on the points. Yeah. You'll take it as long as you get a big Arsenal win. People on Twitter have been shouting at me for being biased towards teams recently, so I've got to be careful what I say. It's almost as if a Chelsea fan doesn't want rival teams to do well. Crazy, right? Crazy, right? I can look at it objectively from an FPL point of view and say there are some very good Arsenal picks. I went triple Spurs on free hit, but it doesn't mean as a Chelsea fan that I want these teams to do well, right? Just as I'm sure every Arsenal fan out there is enjoying the downfall of Chelsea at the moment. I was going to say Spurs fans are probably enjoying it as well. They've probably got enough to worry about themselves that they're not. But yeah. Like, it's pretty normal as a rival fan of a club to not want your rival to win something. Like, yeah, like it's pretty normal, I would say. Again, like I look at it and we talk here about FPL, absolutely. But over the weekend, when I'm watching Chelsea, I am a Chelsea fan. And that is what I am there every single week watching Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, as I am every week that I can be, because I'm a Chelsea fan as a first and foremost. But again, from an FPL point of view, I can talk about how much I love Gabriel, right? And I like my FPL picks to do well as well. But there's no fan out there really who wants their big rivals to win more than them, right? Hopefully that's not a completely crazy thing to say, because I think it's pretty normal. Anyway, who goes down? I actually don't know. I think it could be. I still think Forest are in the zone. I think it's unlikely to be Forest now, but I wouldn't be surprised if they could easily lose their last four. If they needed to get points at home to Newcastle, I think they probably would get it. But I think it could be anyone. I think statistically now we've got to say that Spurs are most likely, particularly with the injuries that they've got. The injuries, as Callum is saying, means you've got to think that they are favourites now. But there's just still part of me which really struggles to comprehend Spurs going down. I still have it in my mind that they're going to find a way not to be fine. Who to sell for Gabriel? We did Watkins or Bowen with wildcard. I wouldn't go Watkins now. With the minutes he played on Thursday, I'd go Bowen. Bowen, Welbeck, Calvert-Lewin would be the three forwards I'd consider outside of Haaland. I would also consider João Pedro, but yeah. Would I pay Palmer or Pascal Gross? Palmer over Gross. You need a talisman to stay up. Gibbs White and Bowen doing it. Spurs don't have one. You're not wrong. You need core players, right? And you look at Forest's spine, right? And they've got, Murillo is now injured, right? But they've got Milenkovic, Anderson, Gibbs White, Chris Wood / Jesus, right? You look at West Ham, they've got Mavropanos and Disasi, they've got Fernandez, they've got Bowen, they've got a core spine of players. You struggle to name that spine at Spurs and feel the same confidence. But why are you not considering Gyökeres at all? I think he's fifth in my forwards to buy. I absolutely am considering Gyökeres, and if he looks like the best Arsenal pick come game week 37, I will find a way to buy him. I quite like the idea of Gyökeres. At the moment, I feel like he is the best pick. Kai Havertz is expected back over the next week or so, though. That puts me off enough, probably. So I do like Gyökeres. It just doesn't make sense for me to make a forward transfer for this week, I don't think. Like, I've got Calvert-Lewin at home to Burnley. I've got João Pedro at home to Forest. I don't need to force a transfer on either one of those when I don't know whether it's Saka versus Gyökeres. I don't know whether I want Welbeck or Bowen. So, I'm going to wait and see. I'm not ruling out like Calvert-Lewin to Welbeck next week. Sorry. Tav to Casemiro differential. I probably wouldn't do that, no. But again, I'm not a big Casemiro lover for FPL, but I know he's been fantastic. But again, the DEFCON mids are players I would like more for a long-term pick. Whereas, is Casemiro going to score again this season? Maybe. Maybe he'll score one. No, Welbeck only didn't start in game week 33 because of the quick turnaround. I think he'll almost certainly come back in. Far ball. Let me take a look. Start one of Hill, Tavernier, Gross, or Van Heck. Start one only. Probably Hill. It's one of the Bournemouth two. I know people are going to tell me again that I'm hating on Brighton. I'm not, because they absolutely battered my team a week and a half ago. Made Chelsea look absolutely dreadful. But just like when you're playing a fixture away at Newcastle versus at home to a Crystal Palace team who are focusing on Europe, I have to go for a Palace player, and it's either Hill or Tavernier, and I probably would play Hill over Tav. Ross, your team is template, but with 3 Arsenal defence. Raya. Plan was to bench boost this game with triple count 36, but they have BIJOL and Semenyo. I would bench boost with BIJOL and Semenyo. I wouldn't worry about them. Like I wouldn't let that put you off. Yeah. Would not worry. Saksham, game with 35 wildcard, Raya Verbruggen. So the thing with Raya Verbruggen on wildcard is it probably is a good option for bench boost next week, but it's a lot of money. When you look at Henderson Darlow is $1.5 million cheaper, is that $1.5 million useful for you elsewhere? The rest of your team looks pretty good. Rest of your team I'm pretty happy with. That's just the thing with with the expensive goalkeepers. But so I went Darlow because if you've got good team value, then maybe it's worth Raya Verbruggen, right? But if you don't, then I would consider Henderson Darlow, as it saves quite a bit of money. And a double up on if you've got loads of value on Raya, then yeah, definitely go Raya then. Yeah. Thoughts for last fan standing. We're going to talk about it after the end of the stream once the deadline hits, but I'm looking at Villa and I'm looking at Leeds probably. I don't know if people have got other ideas. We'll talk about it once we get to it. Villa and Leeds are the two that I'm looking at. I think we're down to I thought I was logged in. We're down to the final 3.4%. That's what we do around here. Last 6,000 people. I'm looking at... So, we've predicted Fulham, Arsenal. I used Arsenal. So, 37, I will have an issue. Because I used Arsenal last week. But I'm thinking Leeds. Or I'm thinking Sunderland. Or I'm thinking Villa. One of those. But we'll talk about it after. Maybe shouldn't have used up Arsenal because they're very good for 37. Very good. Very useful for 37. Leeds are probably the obvious one, yeah. Why Hill over Tav? I just don't think Tav's attack and output has been particularly great for like a while. Whereas Hill is just very reliable. Like his attacking returns. He scored against Newcastle. He got an assist against Sunderland, but it's okay. He just isn't. Like, he's fine. Like, I bought him earlier on before he got injured and he scored that game. But the fact that we don't know if he's definitely on pens, that puts me off. Like, if he was 0% on pens, then he's fine. Like, it's fine. It's nothing particularly exciting. Any updates on OKAFOR? Just that we saw that you posted on Instagram. But that's about it. We don't like OKAFOR. I was going to say BIJOL pictured back in training, but OKAFOR was not pictured back in training. So we don't really know. Why not Van Dijk? The final 4 Liverpool fixtures just don't look great. I'm pretty happy to gamble against him now. Am I playing Hill or Struijk? I would play Struijk, but I've got BIJOL, so I have more of a risk with him. So Hill over BIJOL. But Struijk, just any Leeds defender who's going to start, yeah. Thoughts, Senesi to Struijk, Tavernier to Gibbs-White. I don't think Tavernier to Gibbs-White is needed. Senesi to Struijk also feels very sideways, Michael. Not sure they're too good use of transfers before the end of the season, personally. Best cheap mid for bench boost 36. Gross, Hinchelwood, Kieran Dewsbury, Hall, or Casemiro. Probably go Gross. Probably. Again, if you're really chasing, then Hinchelwood. Like, Hinchelwood's data has been so good. I'm pretty happy to have him at home to Wolves next week as a big differential. But every time I try and gamble against the popular pick over the past few weeks. It just hasn't worked. Like, I've tried to make a few small gambles, like Hinshelwood over Gross. Like, my free hit was a little bit different last week, and it just didn't work. Same in 32. Again, like, Gross blanked. Gross did well against Burnley, and Hinshelwood didn't. So, yeah. You can't afford Gabriel replacement. Find a way to afford Gabriel, or just don't do the transfer this week. Like, if you can't do Senesi to Gabriel, Semenyo to Cherky to free up the money, or just don't do it this week, because Bournemouth defence are absolutely fine this week. Jakob BIJOL is probably fine this week. Yeah. If I had 4, not 5 transfers, would Semenyo to Cherky switch still be on? I think so. Like, the one transfer difference doesn't make a huge difference to me, really. I think the issue a lot of us are going to have is what our Game Week 38 team looks like. A lot of our players don't have particularly great 38 fixtures. But it's not much we can do about that, really. So it is worth considering when you're buying and selling players, is your 38 fixtures. Because if you're buying Palace, they've got Arsenal. Arsenal away at Palace is fine. Brighton, I've got United. That's not easy. Bournemouth are away at Forest. Okay, fine. City at home to Villa. Cool, fine. Chelsea away at Sunderland. Now, I know Sunderland have just shipped 5 goals, but like, it's okay. You know, we've got Leeds away at West Ham, with West Ham potentially still fighting. There's just not loads, particularly because Burnley play Wolves on the final day, right? So straight away, you can't target the 2 worst teams in the league. And the team, if you wanted to target Spurs, is Everton away. So there's just not loads of great options for the final day. It's not the best Game Week 38 this year. Liverpool at home to Brentford is probably one. Like, I'm not... The Salah update to me feels weird. It feels like they're going to do their best to get him to play a couple of minutes on the final game, and they don't want people to be sad about that. I don't think we'll see him before that, really. Like the idea of Gabriel and Cherky over Senesi and Semenyo. Would I do this with just 2 transfers? I probably wouldn't if I only had 2 frees, personally. I'm not sure it's worth the Semenyo to Cherky switch if that's what you've got. Should I go O'Reilly to Saliba for double arse defence and then Palmer to Cherky? I would not sell... O'Reilly is the best City player in the game. I think he's better than Haaland. I would rather go without Haaland than without O'Reilly, I think, because O'Reilly is just so good for what he offers, whereas there are alternatives to Haaland. Now, with the double, I wouldn't want to go without Haaland, right? But I would rather have either of Semenyo, Cherky and not ditch O'Reilly, definitely. Wilson or Gross on wildcard? I probably would go Gross. Take a -4 to get triple Arsenal. Probably not. Like, a -4, I mean, it depends who they are, but probably not. Probably not worth it this week. You like my wildcard, but dropped Guimaraes down to OKAFOR and upgraded Burn to Watkins to try and chase rank. That's fine. So, for those of you looking at the wildcard 35 draft that I put in my complete guide video this morning, it has Bruno Guimaraes in, but basically that spot is whoever you want. So if you want to take a punt on any player in that spot, or you have lots of team value and you can afford Saka, or you want to go straight for Eze, or you don't have much team value and you want to come down to OKAFOR, or you want to go Anderson or Dewsbury Hall, that spot is basically for you to build your squad depending on what you're trying to do, how much you're chasing. You could even go double Brighton mids, right? You could go Gross and Hinshelwood. There are lots of ways that you could do it. No, there's no blank game week, no. Would I play Strauch over Senesi? Yes, I would. Who wins the league? I think Arsenal. I actually do. I think their fixtures are too easy to think that they can't do it. I think City's away games against Everton and away against Bournemouth are much harder than anything that Arsenal have to offer, I think. Especially with Arsenal having Burnley at home for goal difference. Yeah. Vice, you're currently torn on 2 strikers on a wildcard. On DCL and Thiago, thinking to do DCL to Welbeck next week. I mean, the wildcard draft I built had Welbeck, Bowen, but it's pretty close. I just don't love the final 4 games enough for Thiago. I think this week is why you want Thiago. If the West Ham fixture was later on in the season and he had City away this week, you wouldn't even be considering Thiago. So I think that's worth considering. Now, if you've got transfers and you want to go Thiago, DCL this week, and next week you buy Bowen or someone else and Welbeck, absolutely fine. Would I play Strauch over Senesi or Hill? Yeah, I'd play Strauch over both of them. Home to Burnley. Good for DEFCON. Yeah. Why am I starting Darlow over Verbruggen? Darlow has Burnley at home, basically. Clean sheet odds really back Leeds, and I don't have a Leeds defender starting. The ownership of Leeds defence is going to be pretty high, and I think Newcastle will score at home. I'm surprised that me thinking Newcastle score at home is that crazy a suggestion. Like, I know Newcastle have been bad, right? They've been pretty bad for a while, but I still back them to score at home. And maybe I'll be wrong and I'll have double Brighton clean sheet on my bench, but there's no way I'm starting them over any of the others. I thought you were wildcarding. I played my wildcarding in game week 32, so no chips left for me, sadly, anymore. Newcastle, literally Bruno G, FC. They fell apart when he got injured and now he's back. Yeah, Gordon is also expected back. So Gordon and Bruno Guimaraes being back for Newcastle is just a huge boost for them. Like, I would just back them to score, basically. Yeah. Anything, anywhere? No, how long have we got? Oh, we've got an hour to go to the deadline. If you haven't already, please drop a like on the stream. We are 400 away. There are 4,500 of you who haven't liked, and if 400 of you do, we'll hit 1,000 likes. So thank you very much. And we're going to put it in subscriber only mode. You literally will have had to have subscribed for 1 second to start using and commenting in the chat again. Gyökeres or Thiago on wildcard? I'd rather go Gyökeres than Thiago, but I probably wouldn't go either yet. Any news on BIJOL? Just that he was pictured in training and we think he's in the squad because he posted on Instagram, which he normally does when he's in the squad. Harry Wilson or Dewsbury Hall? Probably Dewsbury Hall. Play Van Heck or Hill? Hill. And BIJOL, Hill out of those lot. OKAFOR's been very good recently. Yeah, you are right, Hins. He's been very good recently. If he was definitely available, he would be a lock on wildcard for that final spot. Isaiah, which 3 would I start out of the 5? João Pedro, Gross, Tavernier, Palmer, and Hill. Palmer I'd start, João Pedro I'd start, and I'd play Hill. I'd probably bench Gross, Tavernier, probably. Senesi or Hill? This week specifically, Senesi. Senesi over Hill, but long term I'd rather keep Hill and sell Senesi. Just because of the money. You set yourself up nicely for the next few weeks. Did Semenyo to Turkey with your 1 free transfer. We'll do Mukiele to Munoz next week and bench boost. Then in game week 37, bring in Saka for Cunha. Nice moves. I'm interested to see what Arsenal attacker people end up going with in 37. Think it's pretty wide open. And maybe you just go triple defense and that's fine. Is it okay to have no Palace in 36? Yeah, it is absolutely fine to have no Palace. I would advise that having 1 is probably a good idea because if they do keep a clean sheet, they are going to be mass owned. But if they don't, you're absolutely fine to go against them. Start Tav or Pedro. I'd start João Pedro. Like, I know Pedro, the returns recently have not been great for a while, apart from the 19-pointer against Villa. But we as a team have been dreadful in this period, right? And he looked better in the cup. So yeah, I would be keeping João Pedro. Yeah, there is just part of me that's just like Cherky is just the type of player that could change everything around for the end of the season for City. JP, 3 free transfers. Semenyo to Cherky, Japedro to Thiago chasing. I wouldn't do Japedro to Thiago, no. I would not do Japedro to Thiago, no. I'd keep Japedro by Welbeck next week. According to odds, Fulham are more likely to score than Burnley. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I'd be doing Struijk to Gabriel this week, but Fulham are less likely to score than Palace. Let me get Rob T's data up and we can go through it. Is this the right week? Yeah. So, Rob T's data projections for this week. Leeds 46% chance of a clean sheet. Arsenal 44. So if you've got a Struijk, no, I wouldn't sell Struijk to Gabriel. But I've got BIJOL, who's not quite the same because he's not as nailed, right? His minutes are not as reliable. So when you add in probably a 20% chance that he doesn't make 60 for whatever reason, maybe that's high, but still, like even if it's a 10% chance, you take 10% of that clean sheet away, it drops it below Arsenal. So but then Bournemouth, 35%. So Bournemouth to Arsenal is worthwhile. Now, Defcon adds it a little bit, so there's not very much to pick between all of them, but I've got 5 transfers, right? So I need to buy Gabriel back at some point. Am I not wildcarding? No, I wildcarded 32. I wildcarded game week 32. Same bait as you, but you have Kukurea and Welbeck instead of Van Heck and DCL. Roll or do Senesi to Gabriel and Kukurea. If you need the money for it, then just do Kukurea to Gabriel. Should be able to just afford that. You have 4 free transfers, Owen. Playing the wild card this week. Will I keep 4? Yes, you will. Yeah, you'll still have your 5 transfers as long as you wild card before the deadline. Harry, I heard your call on Semenyo playing. No, this is not. Who is telling you these things? This is not what I'm saying. This is not where I'm at with the Semenyo. I just think it's slightly weird that he's not been pictured in training. It's not a rumour that he's not starting. It's nothing more than he just hasn't been pictured in training. I am also, for full transparency, been wondering about Semenyo to Turkey, and I'm trying to find a reason to validate that it is an acceptable transfer to make. And Semenyo not being in training photos this week is also helping to convince me that it is a transfer that I am considering, right? I think Semenyo will play. I think Semenyo is absolutely fine. I would not sell Semenyo out of fear that he doesn't play. Best 3 forwards on wildcard. I'd go Haaland, Bowen, Welbeck probably. Unless you've got lots of transfers, then maybe do something else first, like Thiago, João Pedro, Watkins, and then sell them. But probably those 3. If I had to have 3 forwards between now and the end of the season, it would be Haaland, Bowen, and Haaland, Bowen, Welbeck. Van Dijk or Chaël? Probably Van Dijk. Cherky just has... I just feel like Cherky is the type of player to take the final 4 seasons and win City the league. And I'm not sure I feel the same about Semenyo. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean they're better FPL picks. But I just have that in my mind that we might see it from... we might see it from Cherky and not Semenyo. That's just the way I feel, but that's just based off the past couple of weeks and Cherky looking like a new player. Lulu. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You can't afford Cucurella to Gabriel. Oh, fine. Then yes, those transfers are fine. Yeah, if you need to downgrade Senesi to afford it, then fine. You could just play Senesi this week. Bench boosting with Semenyo. Your doubts are making me rethink. I don't have doubts. I don't have doubts. I don't have doubts. I would, if I had Semenyo, I would still bench boost, right? There. Fine. Isaiah, start Leeds goalkeeper, defender, and bench Tav. Start 2. Leeds goalkeeper and defender, and bench Tav Gross. Yeah, I'd play a back four with double Leeds defense. Yeah, so the plan for me is to do Senesi to Gabriel and then maybe Semenyo to Cherki. I would not drop O'Reilly in favour of going Semenyo and Cherki. O'Reilly, for me, feels the best City player outside of Haaland. He is pretty close to Haaland, I think. The only reason Haaland's better is captaincy. If captaincy did not exist, I think O'Reilly would be a better pick than Haaland, but I don't feel confident enough captaining O'Reilly. Is Stack worth it? He should start. Whether he plays enough minutes, I'm not sure, so I probably wouldn't take that risk. Feels like picking a Leeds player for the sake of it. Same team except Strout, not BIJOL. Want Gabriel for Senesi, 0.4 million short. Hesitant to transfer Palmer this week. Yeah, so I just do. If you need money, then Semenyo Cherki is a great transfer to get you the money. Yeah. $106 million team value coming handy for the wild card. Yeah, if you've got crazy team value, you can afford that draft that I built with Saka. With Saka in place. Am I confident Palmer and João Pedro play? I have no reason to think that they won't. I have no reason to think that they won't play. Will Rodon start? Yeah, I think so. Al Parat got to bench one of Senesi, Tavernier, and Hill. I probably would bench Hill in that and not double Bournemouth defence and play one defender, one attacker. But if I had to pick one, I would pick Hill over Tav. I'd pick a defender over Tav, but I'm not sure I'd double up. Hincapié and Gross. Calafiori is back in the squad, so no. Gross is a good pick. Wouldn't buy Hincapié. Wouldn't buy an Arsenal fullback. Would buy Arsenal centre-backs only. Same team, Gross versus Hinshelwood. I'd go Gross if I had to. Like, Hinshelwood's probably a better pick if you're chasing, but Gross just feels inevitable at the moment. Yeah. Captain, let me find it for you. BIJOL over Senesi if fit. If I knew that he was going to start, then yeah. But if you without knowing, I probably wouldn't, especially if you've got Darlow in goal. Start Ampadu or Truffert? Probably Ampadu. Do I think Gordon is a good pick? I probably wouldn't go Gordon on wildcard just because we don't know he's going to start this week. He sounds like he'll be back in the squad, but it would be a guess whether we think he's going to start or not. You've got the same team. Need to take a smart swing. Thoughts again. Like if all your rivals have got Cherki or Semenyo, then going the other one. Yeah. If you need differential punts, I did a whole section on my video this morning on differential punts. We can probably get it up, but basically different gambles to take between now and the end of the season, depending on how risky you want to go. Again, if you're on wildcard, the video this morning has all of that covered for you. OKAFOR, we don't know. He posted on Instagram, which tends to imply that he's going to be in the squad. Are they definitely going to start him if he hasn't trained very much this week? I don't know. Is triple Crystal Palace defense for 36 crazy? No, not crazy. I probably will only get 2, I think. think I'll probably end up on 2 because I'm going to have Gabriel. I'm going to have O'Reilly. I've got Van Heck at home to Wolves. And I'll have Verbruggen at home to Wolves. So the question is, are Verbruggen and Van Heck worth selling for a third Palace defender? Probably not, right? Probably not. Is Welbeck worth starting versus other? I like Welbeck this week is not as good as quite a lot of forwards, but he walks into Wolves at home next week. He has quite a good record against Newcastle. That's why I quite like the Welbeck pick this week. Gross versus João Pedro. I'd play João Pedro over Gross. I think they're in my benching ranking. In the top right-hand corner, again, there should be top players to buy by all positions as they go around. You've got goalkeepers, you've got defenders, you've got midfielders, forwards, differentials. Hot topic, injury, start versus bench, which has apparently no one in and number 9. Good work. Who was meant to be number 9? Who was number 9? Who was number 9? Who was it? Have I got Tavernier on here? Oh, it was Alex Scott. There we go. Is 3 Fulham on wildcard a good idea for bench boost 37? I probably wouldn't go triple Fulham. I'm not sure I could tell you 3 Fulham players that I would want. I know it's Wolves away, so it's not the worst, but I don't think I'd triple up on them. I think I would have double Fulham potentially for that strategy. What would I do with Brighton and Crystal Palace defenders if wildcard 36, bench boost 36, sorry. I probably would have more Palace than Brighton. I would just play the double if I was on wildcard this week. Where is your wildcard draft with Saka? I don't have a wildcard draft with Saka because I don't think I would go with him yet. If you can afford Saka in place of Bruno Guimaraes in the draft I put up this morning, some people can, then maybe. But yeah, let's talk captaincy. Maybe I should do a poll in the chat about who people are captaining. And then let's talk about Game Week 35 captaincy. Haaland, Bruno, Gabriel. I need a new keyboard. It's broken. And it's pretty annoying for someone who spends the whole day on it. Game Week 35 captaincy. Let's see how the poll votes. Happy Friday to you as well, Mark. So, I'm not really buying into the narrative that Bruno isn't shooting, but if you look at his data outside of when he's had a pen, Game Week 28, did they get a pen? They did get a pen against Palace, right? Now, he is on pens, right? So that is a benefit. Did he get a pen against Spurs? Did Bruno get a pen against Spurs or not? No, 0.72 XG. Presumably not. All right, so since then, Game Week 26. Right? Let's read his XG numbers. 0.03. Penalty. Now, he is on pens, and we'll cover that. 0.03, 0.08. Pen. 0.02, 0.04, 0.00. Now, his expected assist numbers are crazy, which is why his returns are still pretty good. And maybe he will score against Liverpool, as Liverpool have been leaking chances. But I just don't love that. I still want my captain to be goals first rather than anything else. Now, Haaland's not been much better anyway. He's had 1 double-digit return since game week 17. So since I played my triple captain on Haaland, he's had 1 double-digit return. So, like, listen, Bruno is a good pick. And I don't mind if people are backing against him. Yeah. My plan for 36 is to buy double Palace defense. So we can talk about 36. So plan for me this week. Let's say I do Semenyo to Turkey, which is probably more likely than not now. 36 would be... So that's Munoz in and Lacroix in, right? And then it would probably be a back 4. A back 5 even. Something like that. So triple Brighton come in. You kept Senesi after all. I haven't made my transfers yet. So back 5 is very likely for a lot of people. I think in 36 because City, the Palace picks are only really defenders. A lot of people still have Brighton and then Arsenal. So something like that. I might also consider, if Saka, for example, looks really good, I'm not ruling out Palmer to Saka as well that week. Not ruling it out, which would give me a team that looks like this. Let's say I don't do that. Let's put Palmer back in. Then I play that. Again, I can't do Calvert-Lewin to Welbeck as much as I would like to consider it because I've got triple Brighton. Game week 37, I would then have 3 free transfers again. And 2 of them would be used to buy Arsenal. So it would be 2 transfers to buy Arsenal players effectively. So it could be Munoz to Saliba and like Lacroix to Timber. If I thought that was going to happen, I could find a way to do David Raya in goal if I wanted to go triple defense. Like I'm slightly short of it, but I could do Verbruggen to Raya and, you know, sell someone else, right? I could sell Tavernier because his last 2 games are not great, right? I could do Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall. He's slightly too expensive, but I could do something like that, right? For Sunderland and Spurs. Just an example. So I've got, the plan is I probably have gone off buying triple Palace next week. I probably will buy double. So I've got 8 transfers left. Let's say I buy Gabriel. So I'll buy triple Arsenal with those 8, which leaves 5 more. 2 Palace, which leaves 3 more. Semenyo to Turkey potentially is one of those. And that leaves me 2 other transfers, one of which is game week 38. So 1 in game week 38, which only leaves me 1 other transfer, really. Which is probably Tavernier to someone like Dewsbury Hall. Basically. Is basically where I'm at. Cool. Would I start Cucurella or Hill? No, I'd play Hill over Cucurella. Game week 35, Hill or Tavernier to start. I'd play Hill over Tavernier, as long as it's not a double up on the Bournemouth defence. If you've got Senesi and Hill, then I would bench Hill for Tav. Selling Senesi to Gabriel this week prices you out of Palace defence next week. Would I? So part of the reason, again, if I look at my team, part of the reason, if you've got the transfers for it, part of the benefit to the Cherky move is that I'm not priced out. Because if I put Semenyo back in here, I can't afford those moves. Now, I could do just like Canvo over Lacroix, right? But Lacroix has just such good goal threat. It's probably just worth it. Jack, what to do with wildcard? You're pretty set for next double game week and have a good squad this week. League is doing no 10 million players. You have 3 free transfers, no other chips. Listen, if your team's good and you don't need to play it, wildcard 37 to sell your Palace players, or wildcard 38 to buy players for the final week of the season if you don't think you need it this week. Corner, so would I roll or do the move? 3 transfers. I'd buy Gabriel if I had 3 transfers, but Yeah. What's the plan tonight? Oh, you jumped on the stream because you were going to miss the deadline. Well, glad I could be of assistance. I think, did Cherky rise last night? He's predicted to rise tonight. Again, benefit of the... No, Cherky did not rise. I mean, I'm not... Why is... Oh, yeah, Cherky. Yeah, Cherky didn't rise. Fine. Not that price rises with 3 weeks to go after this are particularly worthwhile, but yeah. Saka and Gibbs White good for a wild card. I wouldn't have either on wild card because I don't think we know that Saka is the best pick, and I'm not sure I like Gibbs White's fixtures enough. However, Gibbs White at home to Newcastle next week. I would like to have, sorry, Ollie's just messaging me saying, I've just looked at your team. I'm doing my wild card. Why have you got so many Bournemouth players? Yeah, good question. You don't need... Yeah, good question. Why do I have triple Bournemouth? Because they had a double a few weeks ago, and this is where we're at. Semenyo to Cherky worth a transfer. If you've got lots of transfers, I think Cherky is better. Like, people on wildcard are not considering Semenyo, are they? Really? So it makes me think that it probably is worth a transfer. Yeah, why do I have Chelsea players as well? Right. Why am I buying Gabriel? I plan on buying Gabriel for Senesi. No, my wildcard draft that I put in the video this morning would be pretty much the same. Just what you do with that Bruno Guimaraes spot, depending on how much team value you've got and who you like, basically.
Hello.
How rude about my team.
Why, I'm so confused. I was not copying, but I was then just like, I don't really know.
Right, so Bournemouth and Chelsea had a double game week a few weeks ago. That's why I've got them in my team. But I'm going to sell one of them.
Because you don't have a wild card.
No.
Right.
How's your wild card going?
It's going fine. I just have literally just got rid of João Pedro.
Yeah, that's fine if you don't want João Pedro. He's not in the wild card draft.
So what I've gone for?
Yeah.
Haaland, Watkins.
Hang on. Haaland, Watkins.
And Thiago.
And
then my midfield, I've got Fernandes, Gibbs White.
Cherky.
And then I've got a
Cherky, Gross, Okafor.
Yeah.
We're not sure if Okafor's going to play.
But he's going on my bench.
Okay. Oh, whoa, he's got Burnley.
Okay, I don't know.
Okay, fine. And then defence, you've got O'Reilly, Gabriel, Senesi.
Neco Williams.
Yeah. Right, who's Pinnock? Why is Pinnock in your
He's on my bench.
I know, but take Pinnock out.
Okay. Why does it matter if he's going to be
Because you're going to have to play your bench boost.
Ah.
And he doesn't play.
Okay, I see. Personally, I feel you're being ambitious with 2 Chelsea players.
Right.
We have not lost a game in 9.
So I would take Senesi out and put in Saliba.
Shh, I'm not supposed to... My family don't know that. You give me tips.
Oh.
You've got to have some perks of being married to you. Saliba.
Yeah, so take him out and put Saliba in. I have got double Chelsea against Forest, who...
I don't have enough money. I've got 1 million.
Yeah, it's why you have to take out Senesi. You sure about Watkins?
No. Not sure.
I don't know about Watkins.
His form's good, though.
He is.
I know how much you love that.
Yeah, it's just... They do have the big game against you in Europe next week. Oh, you can afford...
Well, Elliot Anderson nearly took him out, as well as another player yesterday.
You don't want Dubravka. We've moved on from Dubravka as well.
I don't even look at the goal.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, you've got... Yeah, that'll do.
My rank's climbing, though, isn't it?
There you go. Triple Arsenal defence.
Why?
Because they're good.
But they're playing Fulham, and they won last week.
Yeah, but you don't have to play them all this week.
Okay. And who's Justin?
Yeah, James Justin. You need a cheap defender who actually plays. I'm like...
He is cheap, 3.9 million.
Yeah, good.
Oh, okay. Happy with this.
Got triple leads.
It's just a miracle I've activated it.
Yeah, I know. Make sure you do activate
Last season I ended up not playing a single chip.
Right. We only have... Right. Where's the... Did you click activate?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Right, it is active. You need to decide who you start. That's all right. Sorry, chat. Sorry. She's gone with triple Forest and triple Arsenal defence. Who's Justin? It was James Justin of Leeds. And she needed a cheap defender, and she had Pinnock of Brentford, who doesn't play. So we put in... yeah. Anyway, yeah, she's not a big fan of me picking. So on free hit last week, Holly's a Forest fan, right? And her family are. So I had triple Spurs, double West Ham, and not Gibbs White. And this week I've got double Chelsea. So I keep backing against Forest, which she doesn't love. Anyway. You think BIJOL doesn't start? I don't think it's guaranteed enough for me to start him over the players that we've got. I don't think it's good enough to definitely do it. Who is realistically starting both in the double for Palace? Probably the defenders. The attackers are less likely. Latest news on OKAFOR. I haven't looked on Twitter, but nothing apart from he did post on Instagram, but not pictured in training. So I don't know. Basically, I don't know. Yeah. Munoz, yellow card is strong. Yeah, but he is the most attacking. Last year, she recommended Gibbs White. Yeah, she's recommended Anderson and Chris Wood for me over the past year. That was part of the reason I went Chris Wood in Game Week 1 last year when he absolutely killed it. So, yes. BIJOL is expected to be in the squad. I don't know whether he starts or not. And I same with OKAFOR. Feels like BIJOL is more likely to than OKAFOR, probably, if I had to rank them. João Pedro or Senesi. I probably would just about play João Pedro over Senesi, but it is quite close. No, nothing wrong with triple Arsenal defence at all. If you don't want to leave yourself an option open to go for an attacker, like you might want a Saka and Eze Gyökeres for Burnley at home, then just go triple Arsenal defence. So the best defence, they've got 4 good fixtures left. I would not be surprised if Arsenal kept 3 clean sheets in the last 4, and it doesn't matter what else you do. You have triple Arsenal defence, O'Reilly, and you just don't worry about the rest of it, right? Yeah. Hill or Gross? I'd play Hill. I'm doing good, thank you. Would I start Justin or Tav? Probably Justin. Welbeck versus Thiago this week only. This week only Thiago, definitely. Calvert-Lewin differential captain, probably not. Yeah. What I think about having DCL and Walker and then selling him to Burnley after Burnley for Bowen. You probably won't sell him to Bowen next week because Bowen's got Arsenal, whereas Calvert-Lewin's got Spurs. You probably would wait until the week after. No, Duncan. Duncan. It's not how being a mod works. Duncan says he's bored. Does anyone fancy being banned for 24 hours? No, that's not how it works. Attacking differential. I mean, I did a lot of differentials this morning. There aren't loads I like. Welbeck, Hinchelwood, Sesko, Gordon if he's back, Frimpong. If not, just do different strategies, which I discussed quite a lot. So like backing against Arsenal defence this week, backing Arsenal attackers, stuff like that. Start 3 of Tavernier, João Pedro, Gross, and Semenyo. I'd probably bench Gross. Probably bench Gross. Yeah, it is the Chelsea Forest. It's the Daniels derby on Monday. It is Aronson. It always seems to be when teams we had at the end of last year. Was it game week 38 or game week 37? I think it might have been game week 38 when we won 1-0 and got Champions League. Yeah, I'm still planning on doing Senesi to Gabriel. I don't know about Semenya to Turkey. Part of me just thinks just do it because everyone on I've got 5 transfers, right? Everyone on wildcard is going Turkey. So he's obviously the better pick on paper at the moment. People don't want to do it because it's a transfer that feels sideways, but I've got 5 transfers that I don't really have anything to use them on. So if I think Turkey's better, is it not worth it? Right, there are just over 20 minutes to go to deadline. As I said at the beginning of this stream, I've had a headache for about 3 days, so I've been drinking so much water. So I just need to very quickly nip to the loo, and then I'll be back. Because I don't want to do it in the build up to the deadline, and 25 minutes seems like a long time. So I'll be back in 1 minute. Chat amongst yourselves. And Duncan, don't ban half the chat while I'm away. We're back. We're back. So where are we? Right. He didn't say he couldn't write. Right. Plans for me. Right. So let's recap everything. I'm not going to go through the Semenya thing because it probably is absolutely nothing. Plan is that I don't know enough certainty if BIJOL is going to play, so I'm going to bench him and probably play Hill and Tavernier unless we get anything in the next 20 minutes that makes me think that BIJOL will start. But even if we get something, it doesn't mean he can't come off at half time like he did in the cup final. So I probably will leave it like that. BIJOL has posted on Instagram, as has OKAFOR. We don't know if they're going to start, but it probably means that they are both in the squad. It feels like BIJOL is more likely to start than OKAFOR is, but we don't know on either of them. We're 20 minutes before the deadline. Who knows? We might get something, but yeah. We don't often get anything reliable on leads, really. We have a couple of times, but nothing very much. Where is the account? That 1 second. Keep going. I can't even find it. 1 second. While I'm looking for this, if you could like the stream, here we go. No, it hasn't tweeted anything. My pronunciation of OKAFOR is so funny. What am I getting wrong? I feel like I can't pronounce anyone's names. Anyway, plan transfer is still Senesi to Gabriel, right? That's still the plan. And then Semenya to Turkey is probably the most sideways transfer I feel like I would have ever made. But there is just something about, yeah, like people are predicting BIJOL to start. I think BIJOL will start, but it's still a risk. So, like, let's say that I think BIJOL versus Tavernier, that BIJOL is let's say BIJOL is a 10 and Tavernier is a 8, right? But there's a 20% chance that BIJOL doesn't start, and there's another 10% chance that he gets taken off early. It's then not worth playing BIJOL over Tavernier when I think they're both good picks. Basically. OKAFOR. I feel like I'm saying it right, but I don't know. Anyway, so that's the plan, right? So, not sure why you'd waste a move on Cherky. It's also the money, right? Because there's a couple of moves that I might want to do between now and the end of the season that I need money. Like next week, if I want Munoz and I want Lacroix, like if I want the two best Palace defenders, I can't afford them. So I'd have to free up money elsewhere, which that does. Tom Hadley, how are we doing? Posting the Instapic simply to wind up FPL managers. It's also quite possible, right? Maybe they're out and they're just doing it because they know that the FPL community, that I've got nothing better to do with my Friday than check who's posting Instagram stories. Probably quite possible. They're probably all laughing in their dressing room now. If you're watching, Jakob BIJOL, I'm benching you this week. If you're watching, someone tell Dominic Calvert-Lewin to score. Harry, don't stress. It's not the be-all of end-all. That's good, that. Although, Thomas, you knocked me out of the GOAT Tier Cup last week. So, not very happy about that. Went out in week 1. That's because I just given everyone so much good advice that their teams are better than mine. Anyway, I picked such a bad free hit. That's what happened. Where were we? Who instead of Saka and Gibbs White on wildcard? I like Rodgers, a Brighton mid. I don't mind one of those, but maybe not both. Asking DCL to score, and next thing you know, he misses a pen. It's probably more likely he misses a pen than scores. Don't want to play Enzo this week. Should I play Tavernier and keep a 3-4-3, or should I start Hill and go for a 3-4-3? Tavernier or Hill? I probably would play Hill if you're not playing another Bournemouth defender. Gross already in your team. You don't like Rodgers. That's fine. Then I don't mind Gibbs White. Like Gibbs White at home to Newcastle next week feels like a great pick. Retrospectively, do I wish I'd wildcarded 35 than 32? No, I just wish I picked a better free hit 34. Wildcard 32, bench boost 33 went as well as I could have asked it to. I just didn't gain enough on wildcard last week. If I didn't have as many transfers as I do now, then yes, I probably would have preferred the other strategy. But having 5 transfers, I don't feel like my team is particularly worse than people on wildcard. They've just got different players, basically. They don't feel particularly better or worse. Right, we've got 15 minutes to go to the deadline. There's no reason for me not to do Senesi to Gabriel. So let's do that one first, shall we? Let's do... Right, so... with 15 minutes. Sorry, I was really close to the mic. So the other benefit to the Haaland captain is he plays Monday night as well. Pep rotated and completely rested in the FA Cup, but Cherky played. I feel like Cherky is nailed, right? I might be wrong, and I might regret it, but I feel like Cherky is locked in that City team at the moment. I don't think he made full changes, did he? But they've also always had over a week off as well. They're chasing the Prem as well. So, Senesi out to Gabriel, first transfer. Harry, my timer's wrong. My timer is always a minute ahead so that people don't miss the deadline. Always done intentionally. So, Senesi to Gabriel. So, transfer 1 made. Senesi out to Gabriel. Should I do Senesi to Saliba for double Arsenal and switch Palmer to Sarr? Sorry, should I do Senesi to Saliba for double Arsenal and switch Palmer to Sarr? I wouldn't do Palmer to Sarr this week. Definitely not. Senesi to Gabriel, 1 free transfer or roll. If you only got 1 free, I probably would roll. The issue is you're going to want Gabriel regardless, so maybe I would roll just in case something goes wrong and you sell someone else, but you're probably going to end up doing it. But I think with 1 free, I would likely roll. And then it's just Semenyo to Turkey. That money is useful. There are transfers between now and the end of the season that it is useful to have that money in the bank. Is it a good use of a transfer? Probably not, but I'm running out of things to use my transfers on, really. But you can sell Palmer next week. Yeah, for the money, yeah, I can. I can just bin Palmer. But if I do Palmer to Saka, then I don't get very much money from that. And there is part of me... I have 4 transfers now, so I don't have to do it. But there is part of me I just think Cherki's a better pick than Semenyo right now. I'm still in last fan standing. We'll talk about that after the deadline. I need to pick my team. Until someone gets injured, yeah. But then I still have 4 transfers next week to deal with it, right? I still got spare transfers between now and the end. Is Cherki... Who's more highly owned? Because if Cherki's low owned, then I definitely think it's worthwhile. But I almost feel like Cherki's going to become more owned than Semenyo is now. Semenyo's more owned. Semenyo's the higher owned. It's not worth it. I'm not sure Semenyo will be that much more highly owned because pretty much every wildcard has got Cherki. Semenyo 50%, Cherki's 15%, but it won't be that. Is that on the official game or is that on live FPL? That's in the game. Like, active managers around us, it will be way closer. It will be way closer. Semenyo's a goal scorer. Semenyo will bag. Yeah, Cherki's been bought by 250,000 players this week. It'll be much closer. They'll be pretty much the same ownership. How come I rather sell Senesi over BL? Just the money that I might need. Like, I'm just putting more money in the bank with the couple of transfers that I'm looking at. Yeah. Let me check anything on Twitter about leads for everyone. If anyone sees me on anything on Twitter that they want me to see, please tag me in it. Please tag me in it. Let me see if anyone has tagged me in anything useful. I think I'm going to buy Cherki. think I'm going to buy Cherky. I think. Or do I just do it next week? That's the question. If I don't use all my... I mean, I'd find a way to use my transfers, even if I do a couple of things in Game Week 38. Because as I was saying, Game Week 38 teams don't look particularly great. There's not many great fixtures that week. Next week, do it. I mean, it's pretty split, but... Where did the captaincy poll go? Did I end the poll? What's going on? Do it next week, not next week. I mean, he has been good recently, but his minutes are also pretty hit and miss. But he does just feel like he's... I mean, he did have this in him earlier on in the season, but that was also Foden time as well, right? Back in the day, do you remember that? That like 5-week period where Foden rose in price by like 10 times because he scored every single game a minimum of twice. That was crazy time, that. What a week, what a few weeks that was. Everyone just basically was like, how soon did you buy Cherky, whether you got a red... so how soon did you buy Foden, whether you got a green arrow or not? That was crazy. But yes, that feels like 5 seasons ago. I mean, it did happen about 5 seasons ago as well. I remember he scored a hat-trick against Brentford on like a Monday night. But yes, earlier on this season, that was, yeah. Rodgers or Wilson, I'd go Rodgers. Start Dango or Ryan. I probably would play Dango, Welbeck or Palmer. I'd probably play Palmer this week. So why start Tavernier over Brighton mids? Just because I think they have a better fixture, basically. I think if the fixture was the other way around, I probably would be starting Hinchelwood. But yeah, Hinchelwood's a great pick. I'm happy to have him, but I think Tavernier this week. We have just over 5 minutes to go. I think I'm going to do this. I can't help but shake that there might be something weird going on with Semenyo not being pictured in training and him not playing the cup. I've got 5 transfers. Can you tell I'm trying to convince myself to do it? And I just think Cherky's the type of player that's going to take City to the end of the season. I just can't shake that feeling. That's not a very FPL analytical approach to it. But yeah. People saying Semenyo fully rested, Semenyo will bag. I just got so many transfers that I just don't have like loads to do with it. I've got 4 transfers again next week. So yeah. If that's how I feel, because City have played, since I wildcarded, City have played 4 times and Cherky's been amazing and Semenyo's blanked in all 4 of them. I know that Tom Hadley says that they concede a lot of goals down their right wing. I know. But Cherky does like those spaces as well. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, the fear is that Semenyo's more highly owned and he gets points, but Cherky will also be highly owned and there's not much between them in terms of ownership now, really. Once the game updates, I think it will be pretty clear that Cherky is much higher owned than people think he'll be. Again, I'm hoping to actually, again, if I'm trying to chase, one of the big things that I've said in my video this week is if you're chasing a mini league rival and your mini league rival has Semenyo, going Cherky is a great way to differentiate because I think he's also a better pick. And if that's the case, then why am I not doing it? So for that reason, can you say Semenyo is bad so he scores a hat-trick? No, I'm a big fan of Semenyo. I think he's a fantastic player. Yeah, I think he's a great player. I think I'm going to regret this, but... Alas. 2 transfers made. Gabriel in for Senesi. Cherky in for Semenyo. 2 of my 5 transfers used. Captain on Haaland. Bruno Vise. O'Reilly. Cherky. O'Reilly, Cherky, Haaland. Triple City. Hill in over BIJOL. Just the slight risk of BIJOL's minutes. I think BIJOL's fine. If you don't have cover, like I would play BIJOL over Van Heck. But because I've got Hill, I think I'm going to go with that. Darlow as well. I've got Leeds cover, so I don't need to double up there. Tavernier, Palmer, Cherky, Bruno, Calvert-Lewin, Haaland, João Pedro. That is where we're at. Team locked in. Good luck to you all. Right, we've got 2 minutes left. Let's answer some quick fire questions. Can you bench boost with BIJOL? Yes. Can you bench boost with Semenyo? Definitely. Can bench boost with both of them if you've got them. I imagine they're both fine. BIJOL is expected to be in the squad, as is OKAFOR. We do not know if they're going to start, and I have nothing more to add on that. They have both posted on Instagram, which makes us think that they will both be in the squad. We don't know if they will start. What I think about captaining Cherky, I'm not sure he's a better pick than Haaland. My issue with always captaining a player at City that's not Haaland, unless it's O'Reilly, because of course he can keep a clean sheet, is you're backing City to score goals and it not be Haaland, which I don't like. Lacroix versus Munoz for the double. Munoz first, Lacroix second. Palmer or Tavernier. I'd play Palmer over Tav. If I had Strauch for free transfers, would I do Senesi to Gabriel? Yes, but I would be playing Strauch over Tavernier. If I already had Gabriel, but you need to do 1 transfer at least, should I go Cherky for Semenyo? Yeah, if I had Gabriel already, Cherky to Semenyo seems like probably what I would have done. Will today be the day? You followed me all season. Yes, this is going to be the day. O'Reilly, Truffer, Gabriel, Hill, and BIJOL. Bench 2. I'd bench BIJOL and I'd bench Truffer. I'd play Gabriel, O'Reilly, Hill. Also, Captain Palmer, I definitely wouldn't. Palmer has looked horrible recently. I wouldn't buy Chris Wood. I wouldn't buy Igor Jesus. Too much just sharing of points. And I don't know if they keep playing both of them every single game. My clock is like a minute ahead. Yes, that's deliberately done so people don't miss the deadline. Bench Palmer or João Pedro. I'd rather have João Pedro in my team than Palmer. Bench 1 of Enzo, Tav, or Senesi. I'd bench Enzo. Good luck, everyone. We're into the final minute before the deadline. So 1 minute to go. Go and check your teams. Lock in your teams. My team is locked. That is it for answering questions. We are going to stick around for a little bit of time after the deadline, so don't head off if you don't need to. Drop a like if you've enjoyed the stream and subscribe so you get a reminder when we're back next week if you are not subscribed already. But that is it. Please go and check your team. Let me refresh my team just to make sure that everything: Darlow, Gabriel, Hill, O'Reilly, Tavernier, Palmer, Cherky, Bruno Vise, João Pedro, Calvert-Lewin, Haaland, Cap, BIJOL, first sub. That is all for game week 35. It is now 6:30. Game is still not fully updated yet. Slightly delayed, but someone said I should have lined the 3 City up. I'm not risking moving it around now. Game week 35 team. 2 out of 5 transfers made. Senesi to Gabriel. Semenyo to Cherky. Cool. That is all. I know my clock's fast, but it was still... There we go. Officially updated. Let me just post it on Instagram as well. There we go. Right, what's next? Right, that is where we're at. What should we do first? I just need to set my club lineup. Now we need to set my club. We want to do challenge. Let me just, before I forget, to do my club team. Cool, right. So Bruno Guimaraes, I will play. Anyone on loan? Good. Odegaard. No, he's injured. Gyökeres. Yes, I will take you on loan. Gyökeres in up front, but I will still... Dango Ouattara I like. Let's go 3-4-3. Bruno Guimaraes in. O'Reilly, Van Dijk, Mukiele. Do I have anyone better than... Yeah, let's go Mark Gay over Van Dijk. I'm actually going to release Van Dijk because I need some budget. I don't need Diouf. And I'm back in budget. Cool. That is my lineup for the week. Right. Sorry, I was doing it on my phone. The City don't play until Monday. The City team haven't travelled, so don't worry about it. So, first thing, who is still in last fan standing? Why does it always log me out? Last fan standing. Who are people going with? Who are people going with? I think I'm going Leeds. I could go Sunderland and I could go Villa. Those are the teams I'm considering. I could also go Chelsea, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to go Leeds because I also don't have a use for them outside of this. Bournemouth at home to Palace is not bad. I think it has to be Leeds, right? City, I think there's better uses for City than there are in this one. Villa, I think I'm going to go Leeds. Villa, sorry, let me just, Arsenal are now confident during Timber. Oh, that's on a contract. There we go. So Burnley have got nothing to lose. New manager bounce. I still think Leeds will win. I'm going to go Leeds. Right. Next up is Fantasy Challenge. What is the challenge this week? What have we got? All goals are worth 10 points for goal scorers. No, Tim News is not for 10 minutes. Right, in goal. Yeah, all the winners of the last fan standing will get entered into a draw. Who I don't really care about the goalkeeper. I'm going to put who is highly owned defense that I don't own. Let's put Verbruggen in. Right. Defender with good goal threat that I don't own. Yeah, which goalie's going to score a bullet last minute header? Oh, Senesi's going in. Yeah, big time. Up front. Oh, yeah, Thiago, definitely. Midfield. Oh, yeah. Lock in Semenyo cap. 100%. Lock that in. Anyone else up front? I don't... yeah, we're getting another midfielder. So for anyone who doesn't know, I play Fantasy Challenge by picking the players that I don't own, that I think are going to punish me. I pick the players that I don't own, that I think are going to punish me in FPL. That's how I play FPL Challenge. So who's got the highest ownership that I don't own, so that I can try and jinx them effectively? Is there any forward that I want? Not really. Watkins, I don't mind. Watkins doesn't really hurt me, though. What about another midfielder? Anyone else? Bruno, because I haven't capped him. There we go. Bruno's going to get his goal because he doesn't shoot anymore. Okay, that strategy makes sense. Yeah, basically, I just pick all the players that I think are going to hurt my rank so that I can try and jinx them into not scoring points because I pick them in challenge. That's basically what it is. I do not pick players for challenge that I own in FPL, basically. I don't have an Arsenal goalkeeper, so I may as well go Raya, right? I may as well go Raya in goal. Gibbs White, yeah, another one. Why would I jinx Bruno, mate? Because he's going to be over 100% owned because I didn't cap him. So I actually will want Bruno to blank because I didn't captain him. Apparently Jakob, BIJOL, Stack, and OKAFOR are all with the lead squad. Well, that's not a surprise. That's not a surprise. Does it work? No, not really. Not really. Casemiro, potentially. Yeah, it doesn't really work, but I still do it every week. Watch them both start. I would expect them both to start. I've said that, but I just think there was enough risk. I've just retweeted the source on Twitter, by the way, if you're wondering. He is the chief football writer at the Yorkshire Evening Post covering Leeds United. So a question in the chat from H8PH. What do I think about AI in fantasy? I don't know exactly what you're referring to with that, but I would love to. I'm going to ask a question because I'd like to be educated. When I post like images that are generated by AI, like for example, I created one this morning that was just like, where's BIJOL, with like people looking for him as a sort of joke. People don't like AI so much that the comments are, delete this, like, why are you using AI? And I completely get that it doesn't really add anything when I use it like that. But what I don't really understand why it's so negatively perceived as that as an example. And I may well be missing something. So if someone wants to explain or tell me in the chat why it is, that would be like, I'm more than, like people say again, like the amount of energy it uses. If it is that, then again, like that's completely understandable. And that's probably a lack of understanding from me, but I'm just interested why like people don't like it so much. Yeah, but I don't use AI in FPL really. I spend my life looking at the scout members area basically. OKAFOR is with the squad, yeah. Bad for the environment or take designers' jobs. I mean, that's fair. Again, that is fair. I use designers for a lot of what I do, and I use no AI, and that's not going to change. So, like the stuff I used on AI to just test it out when it was becoming relevant, or like people were using it when people were doing those graphics, is stuff that I wouldn't use regardless, right? It's not replacing anything. Just someone on Twitter saying BIJOL and Antoine Stack and OKAFOR are all with the squad. 4 minutes to go until we get the team news. Yeah, I'm expecting BIJOL to start. It just didn't seem worth the risk, and he might come off early as well, like we saw at the halftime mark of the FA Cup as well. Yeah. All right.
like the song that you put with your team.
Oh, did you?
Song.
Yeah.
I noticed these things.
I had to put it on mute because I can't play music on YouTube. So when I was selecting the song.
I see.
Happy with your wild card?
Yeah, I've captained Haaland. Is that who everyone's captained?
Yeah, some people have captained Bruno.
Who are they playing?
Liverpool.
Oh, okay. They might turn it on against Liverpool. Yeah, I captained Haaland. Didn't really... I don't know if I did the right thing with my bench, but I benched O'Reilly. Is that
Sorry.
because I wanted Williams.
No, right.
It's working for me though, hun. I've got like 8 green arrows in a row.
Yeah, right. Holly
Decisions that I make are not so crazy.
Holly has benched O'Reilly in place of Williams at Forest. Because that's the Forest bias.
Look, they're doing okay. Am I getting hate?
No.
I think people think I'm very...
You've gone rogue. What big call, massive punt. Yeah, people don't love it. But you are a Forest fan.
Yeah, it's our derby this weekend.
Yeah, it is.
I'm very grateful.
Yeah,
that
benched O'Reilly for Williams at Forest. Yeah, that is exactly what just happened. Oh dear.
I'm glad I bring amusement for you.
That's a good one, that. Yeah, almost as bad as selling Semenyo to Turkey. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Right. Well, listen, Holly's had 8 green arrows in a row. He's doing better than I am recently, so who am I to complain? Who am I to complain? Right, 2 minutes to go until team news. There's nothing on Twitter yet about it, but just that OKAFOR and BIJOL look like they will be in the squad. Yes.
Harry, for anyone that wants to do a stream with us, I think we just spend the whole stream bickering. I'm not sure it would be a good round. We have a loving relationship, but we would just bicker. Marriage. We have a loving marriage.
Yeah, marriage.
Oh, marriage has.
Right. Where's this Leeds team? Yeah, I went for Semenyo to Turkey, but I don't know. There's a picture of Salah he's posted running around outside in boots, so that's probably a positive sign. Captain Turkey, is that bad? No. No. Come on, let's just have the team. Let me just put me out of my misery. I'm expecting them both to start, probably, but I'm hoping that maybe BIJOL comes off at half-time again and they play a back 4. But that's what I'm hoping for. In boots and nothing else. That made me laugh. Semenyo's Turkey purely on form and the fact that the money is useful for me next week. Because if I want to buy Lacroix and Munoz, BIJOL does start. OKAFOR does start. Darlow starts. I couldn't see BIJOL because it went Bogle, Justin, Strauch, Rodon. I was like, oh, so there's the back 4. But then he does start. Slightly annoying. But Aronson benched. For anyone who has Aronson, outside of that, everyone starts. Fair. This now puts me in a difficult position when stuff like this happens, because now I'm like, well, do I want Leeds to concede because I benched BIJOL, but then I've got Darlow. Right? So I want them to keep a clean sheet, but then it looks like the BIJOL decision was bad. But anyway, that is all for the stream. Thank you all very much. Have a lovely weekend. We'll be back on Saturday as we look ahead to the final double of the season in Game Week 36. Thank you all very much for joining. Good luck with your teams this week. Have a lovely evening. Have a lovely weekend. And I'll catch you all very soon.